All right, listen up because this one is wild. Multiple close sources and insiders are now saying Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez could actually be heading for divorce, and the real reason is way darker than anyone imagined. On the surface, they looked like the ultimate power couple, billionaire entrepreneur and glamorous media personality. But behind the smiles, the whispers suggest a marriage built on spectacle, massive demands, and billionaire-level legal traps. Some reports even claim Bezos has been planning for this moment for years. And once you hear about the prenup clauses, the billion-dollar demands, and why his smile basically disappeared, you'll understand why people are convinced this relationship was doomed from the start. So here's what's being whispered in Silicon Valley, on Wall Street, and in Hollywood circles. Multiple close sources claim Jeff Bezos has privately admitted his marriage with Lauren Sanchez is over. Nothing officially filed yet, no press releases, but insiders say divorce lawyers are already involved behind the scenes. The public explanation floating around? Differences in values. And if you know how billionaire PR works, that's code for the stuff behind the scenes is way messier than will ever be told directly. This isn't just another rich guy breakup. If this goes through, we're looking at what could be the most expensive divorce in history. Forget about splitting up houses or cars. We're talking the kind of money that can literally shake stock markets. To understand this, you have to rewind all the way back to Jeff's first marriage, Jeff and Mackenzie Scott. They were married 25 years, from before Amazon even existed. She wasn't just his wife, she was a co-builder, employee number one. She drove cross-country with him while he wrote the Amazon business plan, helped him pack books in their garage, and stood by him as Amazon grew into a trillion-dollar empire. When they divorced in 2019, it was the largest divorce settlement in history, $38 billion in Amazon stock. And here's the key part. Jeff gave it willingly. No ugly courtroom battle, no dragging each other through the mud. He signed it over because he thought he had something more valuable, his future with Lauren Sanchez. That decision might be the single biggest turning point of his life. Lauren wasn't some random name. She was already a known figure. TV host, producer, licensed helicopter pilot. She had Hollywood connections and had been around powerful people for years. But when she got with Jeff, suddenly her name was on the front page of global business publications, not just entertainment sections. And at first, they looked perfect. The richest man alive and a glamorous, independent woman. Paparazzi photos of them together went viral. Yacht trips in the Mediterranean, red carpet appearances. People magazine headlines calling Jeff happier than ever. And honestly, looking at the pictures, it was hard to disagree. His smile in those early years, genuine. What psychologists call a Duchenne smile, the kind that lights up your eyes. The man looked like he'd found joy again. But by 2021, people noticed something strange. Jeff's smiles started looking different. Less joy, more performance. Body language experts even commented that his expressions look like social smiles, the kind you put on for cameras, not the kind you feel in your heart. Insiders began whispering that the honeymoon glow was gone. And it wasn't just about smiles. Jeff's posture, his energy in interviews, even his tone in public appearances, everything seemed heavier. It was like the weight of the relationship had shifted from fun to complicated. So what happened? Here's where the psychology comes in. In the early days, Lauren reportedly played it perfectly. She refused Jeff's expensive gifts. She insisted on splitting dinner bills. She presented herself as successful, independent, not interested in his billions. And for Jeff, a man surrounded by people who only see dollar signs when they look at him, that had to feel refreshing. But insiders say that once Jeff's divorce from Mackenzie was finalized, things shifted. Suddenly, the gifts weren't being refused. Luxury wardrobes, cosmetic procedures, private jets. It became the kind of billionaire lifestyle that Jeff, deep down, had never been about. Remember, this is the guy who famously drove a Honda Accord as Amazon grew. The guy who told employees to use doors as desks because it was cheaper. And now he's funding the exact opposite lifestyle. And then came the wedding. This is where insiders say the real crack started showing. Reportedly, Jeff wanted something small and private. That's who he is, private, strategic, disciplined. But Lauren, she wanted a global spectacle. And she got it. $76 million. Imported roses, chandeliers flown in from Paris, a guest list of 200 celebrities, many of them Lauren's Hollywood connections, 27 designer outfits, a wedding dress rumored to cost $500,000. The event looked glamorous, but it was a PR nightmare. Locals in Venice protested the disruption. Entire neighborhoods were shut down. Water taxis stopped during peak tourist season. And remember, this was happening while Amazon was laying off 18,000 workers. The optics were terrible. Bezos throws $76 million party while employees lose jobs. That narrative destroyed his image. And guess who the public blamed for that spectacle? Lauren. But if you thought the wedding was bad, the rumors about what came next make it look tame. Multiple sources claim Lauren began pushing for a massive cut of Jeff's fortune. We're talking 80%. That's roughly $160 billion. Her argument? According to insiders, a pregnancy claim that she believed could override the prenup. Now, let me be clear. These are unconfirmed reports, but just the idea of it had lawyers buzzing, because Bezos' prenup isn't some 5-page document. It's hundreds of pages, drafted by multiple law firms over 18 months. Some attorneys even call it the Mona Lisa of prenups. If Lauren really tried to challenge it, it wouldn't just affect Jeff. It would set a precedent for every billionaire in the world. That's how high the stakes were. And here's where the story gets straight out of a Netflix script. Insiders claim Jeff's prenup wasn't just protective, it was offensive. It had clauses that could actually strip Lauren of claims if she overstepped. The most infamous one, nicknamed the $5 billion boomerang. Allegedly, if she violated certain conditions, like using his name for branding, associating with rivals, or even posting something out of line, she could lose out entirely. And if one clause was broken, boom, they all triggered. Think about that. A prenup designed not just to protect, but to punish. According to whispers, the breaking point came at a charity gala in Monaco. Lauren was photographed talking to the wife of one of Bezos' biggest business rivals. From the outside, it looked like harmless small talk, but lip readers later claimed she was fed insider info about an upcoming business acquisition. Even if Lauren didn't mean to, just being caught in that moment could have triggered the prenup clauses. And insiders say Bezos' lawyers moved fast. Within 72 hours, bank accounts were frozen, cease and desist letters were sent to brands she was working with, and partnerships collapsed. It was legal warfare. And here's the part people don't talk about enough. Bezos didn't just hit her financially. Insiders say he hit her socially. Calls stopped being returned. Invitations disappeared. Stylists, PR reps, even old friends began distancing themselves. Suddenly, the woman who was everywhere wasn't. And the wildest part? Jeff never said a word publicly. His silence became the weapon. In elite circles, perception is reality. If the richest man alive doesn't stand by you, people assume you're radioactive. That silence erased Lauren faster than any press conference ever could. And that brings us back to now. Rumors say divorce lawyers are working overtime. The official line? Different values. But when you line up the timeline, the fading smiles, the wedding backlash, the billion-dollar demands, the prenup traps, it paints a way clearer picture. Bezos isn't just walking away from a marriage. He's making sure his empire, his reputation, and his legacy stay intact. And honestly, the most brutal part is the comparison. Mackenzie Scott left with $38 billion, quietly donated over half of it, and became admired as one of the greatest philanthropists alive. Lauren Sanchez leaves after a $76 million wedding, billion-dollar demands, and whispers of prenup violations. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Authentic love versus spectacle. Authentic generosity versus luxury obsession. So what's the takeaway here? At this level of wealth, relationships aren't really about romance. They're about power, image, and control. Bezos thought he was getting love. What he really got, insiders say, was a performance. And when the performance started costing him his reputation, he cut it off. The symbolism is brutal. His smile. In 2019, it was glowing. In 2021, forced. By 2024, practically gone. And that's the story in one expression. So yeah, according to close sources, Jeff Bezos may be preparing to divorce Lauren Sanchez. And while the public story is different values, the real story is a messy mix of billion-dollar demands, weaponized prenups, and a man who realized money can buy almost anything, except genuine happiness. Because in the end, this wasn't a fairy tale. It was a chess match. And in Jeff Bezos' world, there are no second chances. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.